Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to Mystery Monday, live here on Facebook, and you can catch the replay on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Lucia Visentin, and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. As you hop on, please do say hi. Would love to know who's about, and have a little chat, see what everyone has done this long weekend here in Australia. We actually went for a little bit of a drive along further east to Metung and Bairnsdale on the weekend, and I had a retreat up there. So I did want to thank the two lovely ladies for hosting that. Michelle and Vicky, thank you so much. We had an awesome time, and it was a great recce. Now, I hope the internet's okay down here today, because we have had trouble, well, at least with the TV, so hopefully the live goes okay. I know it cut out a little bit last week, might have been Thursday as well, so we'll just see how we go. Hello Fiona, and hi Vicky, how are you? So that was our weekend. So we went up on Friday, came back Saturday night. And then today was the big freeze football, so fundraising for motor neurone disease, which again is a cause that's very close to our heart as well. So we always make sure we get a little bit involved in that on the Monday today. So we will get on to what we're doing. I think there's a few promotions and things going at the moment. One of them is our sweet sale. So we do have a buy one, get one at 50% off, which is absolutely fantastic. Hello, Sharon, and hi, Anita. How are you both? So what this happens is any suite that you purchase, if you purchase another suite, and it's any suite that's online, so it can be a suite from the new catalogue, it can be a suite from the online exclusives, or it can even be a last chance suite that's on sale already. So if you purchase two suites, you will get the cheapest one for free, but it does include suite products. So when you are placing your order, do be aware that if you place an order for a suite and then you've got some suite products in there as well, and say you've got some embellishments or ribbons or something, and you've only got those two items, the cheapest one, which will be the embellishments, will be half price. So when you pop your order in, do check your cart and just see what you are actually getting your half price off. So I wanted two suites, but not everything. So I ordered the two bundles last week and got a bundle for 50% off. And then I ordered both the designer series paper in another order and got the designer series paper. But if I had ordered the two bundles and the two designer series paper, I would have got both the designer series papers for half price. So I hope that kind of makes sense. And that's why I divvied up my my orders as well. So that is happening. Virtual album retreat. So that is still, you are still able to purchase that, and that is while stocks last, is the other thing with the virtual album retreat. And I have got a special little offer for that as well. So if you do order the virtual album retreat from myself, and I will put a link up in the comments of this live, you will actually receive one of the albums for free to pop all your pages in. So you do get, when you do the retreat, you get 12 double page spreads that you will do over the course of 3 days. And that does run from the 17th to the 19th of July. And like I said, if you purchase it from me, you will actually get one of they are black albums, and it is a hinge closed album for free. So that's valued at $75. And that's for the entirety of the time that you can order the actual retreat as well. So And the other thing is, I might go through the other thing at the end as well, because I am going to do a little paper share with the two-toned cardstock. I had a couple of ladies at the retreat ask about it, and I thought it's actually a great idea. So we've chosen 11 colours, and I am going to do a share with that you get 2 sheets of each of those 11 colours. I will cut them into 6 by 12 just so it posts easier, and that will be $45 for the share. But like I said, I will go through that with you and show you the colours and everything as well as we go on. Cool. Alrighty, so tonight I'm using the, what am I using? I am using the Beautiful Gallery Suite again. So I will turn you over and we'll get to, and I'll show you what is happening. Alrighty. We'll just straighten up a little bit. Okay. Alrighty. I think we kind of done. So this is the suite here, and if we open our catalogue, that's the suite there in the catalogue. So it is a mega suite. So there are 2 stamp sets and 2 lots of dies. So for the complete suite, it's $245. But you can get the bundles in this, and the bundles you're looking at $81 and $93. So like when we were talking about the sale and the suites, you can actually purchase like those 2 bundles and you'll get the $81 bundle for half price. So that's a good way of doing it. And then say purchase your papers. Now, if you purchase those 2 and your papers, it might get a bit confusing. If you're purchasing those 2 and the papers, you will only get the papers for half price. Or if you get the paper and the embossing folders, they're the 2 things you would then get for half price. So you get the cheaper 2 for half price. So that was my reasoning for doing 2 bundles in one order, and then I did my 2 papers in another order, just so I was taking full advantage of the sale that way. So just be careful not to get caught out with that. So tonight, as it's been a really busy weekend, what I wanted to do tonight is something fairly quick and easy. They are the dies that go in the stamps. You can see the stamps that go in the set as well. I did want to do something a little bit easy. So I did actually go back through last year's catalogue and I went to the page that had the little sketches in it. So let me turn this over. So the sketch that I have, I've actually probably done 2 because I've actually used this one and I am using this one here, but I've turned it on its side. So it's landscape, not portrait. And so like I said, when I get stuck with anything, I do tend to go towards sketches or colour challenges. So what I will show you, I'll show you a couple of other cards I've made first. Hi Helen and hi Elizabeth. So these are a couple that I have done. So this one here I've done, and I've got the 3 panels. And I've actually put it on to Mossy Meadow card base, and I've popped Basic Beige behind. I've got the little bit of twine like it had in the picture as well, and then I have put my sentiment on as well. So super simple. I watched Anita's on tonight. I watched Anita's live this afternoon. I actually hadn't started anything even after I finished watching her. So I have done these quite quickly this afternoon, I must admit. So there was that one. Hello, Patty again. How are you? And then this was another one that I did. So again, the 3 panels. and just a sentiment, a little bit of ribbon and some embellishment. And because the papers in this designer series set are just gorgeous, I think the papers kind of, they do all the talking. Like, you really don't have to do anything too much with your card, I don't feel, because the papers are just beautiful. So when I do something like this, I always cut things out just out of, oh, it's just photocopy. It's actually old papers that I've, instead of throwing it out, I keep it just to use to do mock cards and things like that. So what I have done is I've cut them all up, and I've got all my, I can just make sure that everything fits properly. So I've got, you know, I was doing the width of it. So I've only got a 2 millimeter border around it, and so one is 4.4 wide and the other one's 4.6 wide. And I think I've done 10, excuse me, 10 and 9.8 were the heights of it as well. Yeah, do you know what? Simple cards, I do love a simple card. I really do. And I just think sometimes it is a really good way to go. And here was another, just a little mock-up that I do as well. So I always use grid paper as well. So I've measured out what my mount was. So this is for the card we're doing tonight. So I'll just, so I've got my mounts here. So we have a Basic Beige card base. Good evening, Rochelle. And then I've used Calypso Coral, and I'm using early Espresso. So I've got the basic card base is 14.85 by 21, and I've scored it at 10.5. Then I have my Calypso Coral, which is 13.5 by 9.2, and this one is 0.3 smaller, so it's 13.2 by 8.9. So what I've done here is I've got, and I must have changed my measurements a bit. No, 13. I've got 13.3 written, but it was 13.2 by 8.9. And then you can just see all my little markings here is where I'm just getting everything all lined up. So grid paper is always a good way to go when you're trying to work out how you're going to do your cards. So the paper I'm using tonight is this one here. So I have already cut out my bits. I'll just show you, I did have all my other bits here as well. So I did use that on one of my cards as well. So what I have done with that one is I have just cut the borders off it. So you can see I've just cut down the sides and at the bottom, and then I just cut up to where I needed it to be at the top. So I have cut a little bit of that top off as well, but pretty much kept the whole width of it and just divided that by 3 to get my little panels, and then worked out what I have used Secret C behind this one as well, and worked out what my Secret C was meant to be. And then I had, that was the whole sheet of that paper, so I've just cut that bit off the end, or it might have been off the other end, this end. I've cut that off the end, and then I've divided that one up into 3. So that was where I had started from, at least. So I'll pop those out of the way. So like I said, that's the leftover from that paper there. What I am going to do, and I was going ahead and stamping something beforehand, so I had something done. But then I realised when I was looking at this paper, it is actually early espresso and not black. So I am going to stamp this again and go in the early espresso. So I have got my stamp already mounted, and as it's a photopolymer stamp, I am going to use my piecing mat, just so it's I've got that nice bit of foam underneath it to give it a bit more cushioning. Good evening or good morning, Kim. How are you? Lovely to see you again. There we we're just saying we've had a long weekend here in Australia. So we've all had a nice day off today. So hopefully everyone is all nice and rested and relaxed. Okay, so I think I've inked him up nicely. And we'll just stamp him down, hold him there for a few seconds, and up we go. So not a huge difference colour-wise, but because this was done in the brown, I thought it would be nice just to keep it going and keep the same theme happening. And I am just going to give that stamp a little bit of a clean. Being photopolymer, I don't like to leave it there too long with a dark colour on it. Just clean him up, dry him on the other side, and pop him away. Sorry, I am just going to take one of my bracelets off because it's knocking on the table a little bit too much. There we go, that's better. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a pair of scissors and just cut that black one off. So I'm not dealing with the excess. And I'm going to bring in some blends. We've had perfect crafting weather today too. Raining since Sunday night here. Oh no, it was actually Saturday night. So we've had a weekend of rain, which has actually been fantastic here. We've had so many people that have really needed it. So I have Calypso Coral. I also have Petal Pink as well. And this is Basic Beige I'm using, definitely. Basic Beige, I haven't used it enough and I really do love it. And I have got Lost Lagoon for my leaves. So I am going to start off with my dark, and I do start off, do you know what? I'm actually going to start with this. I'm just going to give that ink a little bit of time to dry. I'm just thinking on the hop here. But I am, with these ones, just going to pretty these up a little bit as well. So what I'm going to do with these is not a lot. I just want to, and I'm using a Calypso Coral pencil here. I just want to give it just a touch of Calypso Coral. So I'm not doing a lot, but I just want to add a little bit of colour onto these papers so they're not quite as plain as they look. So you can just do a little bit of blending. Like I said, there's not a lot of colour being laid down, but just a little bit. Just so it wasn't as plain. And we're adding just that little bit of colour. I'm not going to worry about the leaves. I'm just going to do the petals. Yeah, I think all the gardens are quite pleased here with the amount of rain we've had. We had new windows put in a little while ago, I was saying, probably a week or so ago now. And I noticed there was water pooling in the, I don't know what you call it, but the base of the windows. And it all drained away so well. I was so happy. I wasn't quite sure how it was all going to work, but it's done quite nicely. Sorry, I'm not being too picky sort of with where I'm adding this colour. Like I said, I just wanted that little bit just so it wasn't like my cards are usually very monochromatic, but I didn't want it to be just completely no colour at all. So this is just giving it just a little bit. So how's everyone else's weekend been this weekend? Like I said, I hope everyone here in our country has had a lovely weekend. Like I said, crafting with others is always fun, so our retreat was, well, I had a ball. I hope everyone that attended had a ball as well. I really did enjoy it. And this was the suite that we used as well, so I should have given everyone the heads up so that they could have watched tonight and been able to use all their papers, because they did all receive a pack of paper as well, so they will be able to replicate these cards, which will be nice. So like I said, once they go on there, it's only just that little bit of colour, but it's just a little bit that I think will pick it up really nicely. So we'll come back to these now, and I am going to colour. I might just bring you down a little bit closer, and we'll try and get away from that light over there as well. So I'm just laying some of the darker colour down first. I might try and get 2 flowers done in one go, see if we can do that. And then I'll come in, so that was my dark Calypso Coral, and now I'm going in with my light. And I must admit there is quite a difference in colour with the light and dark Calypso Coral. So I do find it easier laying the dark down first and then blending with the light, and the light kind of nearly acts a little bit like the colour lifter, I must admit, because it does really tone down, as you can see, that darker colour. And I'm sure it's just the alcohol in the pen that does do that. I'm not going all the way up to the top of the petals either. I am leaving a little bit of white space, because not everything has to be completely coloured as well, and it doesn't have to be exact either. You all know that colouring's not my forte, but I have been giving it a red hot go lately. And you know what? With practice, it does definitely improve. So it's amazing what you can come up with once you've been doing it more often. So it is definitely a playing around with things a bit more does help. And sometimes it's the having the time to play as well that we don't often have. And it's also nice not to be working on a white as well and having a little bit of a different colour. I'm just going to put a little bit more of the dark here, because I've just noticed I have missed a couple of places. So what you can also do now, the pencil is always really good too. So I found with the pencil, I've just been able to give it a little bit more depth. So I'm just coming up from the bottom and almost doing another little bit of a blend between the light and the dark blends. But I'll just show you. Can you see how this flower here now has a little bit more depth than, say, this one? So I'm just going to continue just so that you can see what's happening. Hello Renee, how are you? You've just caught me doing a little bit of colouring and just doing a bit of, it's not really blending, it's more shading I suppose with the pencils. So I'm not worried even that my pencil's not too sharp, because it actually gives me a nicer tip to shade with then as well. So sometimes it's nice to have that flat end. It is different when it's not white, isn't it? I think you were doing some stamping on Very Vanilla the other day, Rochelle. And then when I saw this designer series paper that wasn't in the white, I thought, oh, that would actually be really nice now just to do my stamping on the Basic Beige as well. So I did take a little leaf out of your book, I must admit. The pencils with the blends, I've done it a few times now, and I really, really love the effect. Now, I'm not sure whether they are meant to be green, but they are now. You're just going to use a little bit of artistic license here. Now, I've started with the dark. That was probably a bit silly. That's okay. Let's just... That is fine. Yeah, I'm not a very vanilla girl either. Like, I hardly ever use it, I must admit. I only ever use it if the designer series paper perhaps has it in it. And that's probably because I do use a lot of blue. So blue and white definitely go better. No problem, there's always the replay that you can watch as well, Renee, too. So I'm just going to pop that out of the way. I am going to grab my die for this. So like I said, I haven't overworked it, but I think that's given it a nice bit of colour, and not using too much of the dark blend as well. So this is one of the dies. And it's got all the dies to go with the flowers, which is this set here. But you also get the frame and a few other little bits and pieces that it cuts out too. So I'll show you some of those because I have cut some of those out as well. And just grab my mini cut and emboss. And some nice new plates for show. Obviously not the ones I usually use. And I will just pop a couple of bits of tape on this so that it does not move. I used to, if you think that your dies do move a bit, sometimes it's worth actually cutting them out before you colour them, because you don't want to do all of that work colouring and then the dye moves on you. Get that through. Pop him back away. Yes, thank you, Michelle. This is what the dies were meant to look like. See how much quicker it is to actually cut the flower out with the die? I did, I must admit, forget my dies when we did the retreat. So I did do a little bit of fussy cutting for some of the ladies, and some of the ladies did their own as well. So that is going to be used on there as well. So like I said, we've got our two mounts. We've got our designer series paper that will go on the top. Now, I do feel this is a little bit, not insipid, but light. So I did want to brighten that up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I do have my Calypso Coral ink Yeah, look, like I said, the Basic Beige is really lovely, and I must admit, like I said, I do have Rochelle to thank for that, because she had used hers before. I am just going to grab some scrap paper though, just so that I don't end up with a whole ton. So I'm just, sorry, inking up my, let me move you back a little bit further. We're a little bit close now. There we go. So just inking up my blending brush. Get some of that off. And that's why I always tap it first, because sometimes you get that really, I don't know whether it's my brushes, but they're just a little bit tough, hard. So we're just going to do a little bit in this corner. And like I said, I don't want too much colour, but just a little bit. And we'll do a little bit in the opposite corner. I don't particularly want to re-ink up my brush again, because I just don't like it when it does that blobby thing. But I do think that's probably enough. Like I said, I just want it to be, just have a little bit of colour there. So I'll pop those out of the way. We'll get rid of that. So we might even just pop that aside and start sticking these together. I'll just bring my Tombow glue over. And start doing a little bit of assembly here. So just a little border. I just think the little borders are really delicate. And especially, we've only got a hint of the Calypso coral, so I don't want that to be the focus of my card. I just want it to be a highlight. So I've tried to do it so I've got the same border, top and sides, and then hopefully when I put my middle one in, I'll have about the same gap in the middles there as well. And just let me make sure that they all join up, yes. And put them on the right way. Yes, hopefully he's not getting a cold. So we'll pop our first one on. So I always do one side, then I do the other side, then I can actually pop the one in the middle in the centre nicely. So I always do my two ends first. So we'll do our other end. And then our one in the middle. There we go. And make sure he's the right way up as well. And try and get that nice and even as well. Okay, so the other thing I would like is a sentiment, and I am going to use Celebrate. And I've probably got enough here. So I'll use my little offcut here from where I dyed, the die cut the flower. And we'll just go in the early Espresso. I don't know what it is. I still keep on going to go choc chip. It's really been ingrained lately. I don't know why. There we go. Celebrate. am just going to bring in my little baby cutter. Cut the end off. Get rid of all of that. Hopefully I've given me, yep, okay. And then it might go the other way. I can see if it's straight then. Okay, and there's our little celebrate. And the one thing I didn't get out was a little bit of chocolate chip. Let's see, there I go, early espresso. Yeah, it must mean I want cookies, obviously. I don't, like I said, I don't know. I've been doing it the last few weeks, I think. Just calling it the wrong thing. Yeah, I think you're right, Anita. Time for a comeback. Let me just clean that stamp as well. Sorry, ladies. Give you a little clean up. So what I'm going to do now is pop this on the the early espresso. See, now that I've got it in my head, it's not going to go out, is it? My goodness. I'm just using a little bit of tear and tape. And I could just use the, I could use the glue, but I just find this sticks nicely. And what I'll do with this is I will put whatever border I want on it, top and side. And then I can just cut the rest by hand. I think we can do that fairly well. And then cut down this side. Now the longer the shank on your scissors, the straighter that will be as well. Because if you can do one nice clean cut from top to bottom, that's probably a little bit better. So we might actually even stick that on. I was going to go dimensionals, but I think I will stick it flat. So let's go. And see how it's just got that little bit of the Calypso coral in it? Like there's not a heap, but just enough to pick up on the Calypso coral that's everywhere else. So the other thing I did do is I have cut out a few little bits here. So I was going to just pop that along my card there and put my sentiment along the bottom. And then I did want to pop some of these behind. I might actually go, I might go those two actually. Just have it so it goes up alongside. So again, I might take that tear and tape. Oh, thank you very much. Do you know what? Sometimes cards do just come together. I'm just looking at the Calypso coral here. You could have even done it without the Calypso coral, I feel, too. Still would have been nice. Like it looks nice with it there, but I don't think it was necessarily required either. So I'm just putting that at the back. And the other thing I might do is just a little bit of linen behind that too. So with the linen, you'll find that it does curl up because it's been on the roll, and it's just the way linen goes. So I do just pop it through my fingers just to get the majority of that curl out. The curl will still be there, so it still will do its own thing a little bit, but I don't actually mind that it does. And like I said, if we just pop that, just so it pops out a little bit behind, I think would be good. I do like the linen thread even better than the baker's twine, because it does have a little bit of body to it. And like I said, I know it does do its own thing, but that's kind of a good thing. So let's put that sort of there. So you know what I might do? Take the back off that double-sided tape, stick him underneath, and put the back on again. Alrighty, so we might put this on dimensionals. I'll grab them. Yeah, like I said, Anita, that was exactly where I started. Like John said, was with the templates. So once I had the sketch, it was just so much easier then to make the cards as well. I was going to put them down there a bit further, but yeah. Thank you, Joan. I'll take the backs off those. So this is a very loose interpretation of that sketch because I have put something else over the top. So now with this, I'm going to pop a dimensional here. And we can still pop a dimensional on this other side as well. And we'll pop him there. So then that will all sit nicely. And just make sure he's straight. There you go, just with that little bit of linen sort of poking out a bit. Oh, thank you, Natalie. And then I think these other little bits we could pop on the inside, and because I still have, hopefully, a little bit of ink on my brush, we might just ink that up a little bit. And pop those there. So we'll see what we can do with a little bit of glue here, without getting glue absolutely everywhere, which tends to happen. Thank you, Kim. But you know what? I'm just going to dab a little bit there. Without getting too much, because it's on the inside of the card, we don't want too much glue oozing, because otherwise your card will stick together. We don't particularly want that. So let's turn this one over. And we will stick him down first. Give him a little bit of time. Yeah, I don't make enough landscape cards, but when I do, I always wonder why I don't, because they do just change the look of the card. I'll show you in a moment, Natalie, some of the cards I made earlier today as well. Probably could have put that one behind, but anyway, that is okay. So that's the inside. Oops, and that's the outside. And what we could do is, I do have a little bit of Wink of Stella. Sometimes it's just nice because they're a little bit plainer, just to give them a little bit of something. And I might even do the ones inside. Let's make sure we don't bend him again. Sorry, I was just getting quite runny. There you go. Yeah, I know, just a little bit, not a lot of wink, but just a little bit. It just gives it that nice little touch. So how's that? Like I said, I think even, I know I've blended the corners, but I think even just with the plain, like when you take that out and you just look at the plain on it, it still looks quite pretty without that blending. But that still looks lovely. And like I said, you could still go back in, and if you feel that it needs just a little bit more of the colour here, you could darken that just a little bit as well. But to be honest, I think even as it is, it's still fine. So that was my card that I have made for tonight. I'll just find my other ones, which I've obviously popped down somewhere. There we go. We had that one, and we had these two as well from tonight. So all the same layout, but all a little bit different, and the papers make them look completely different as well, is the thing too. So it does depend what papers you're using, but these designer series paper for this style of card is perfect because there are so many gorgeous papers in this pack. Mine's been a little bit hacked at, but let's just get them out because there are some other lovely ones. I did toy with using that one as well because I do love that. I love the colours in that one. And there was that one as well. But I felt if I cut the top or the bottom off that probably would have been better had it been portrait, sorry. And this one here would have been, like I said, you could use them all. Like they are all, for that kind of card, absolutely perfect. And that's the one we did use. So that one and that one. So, like I said, does look great. So what I did want to show you now, though, were the colours that I'm going to do in my two-toned paper share. So I might just pop those out of the way for now. And we might just go through here and I will show you what we had chosen. So we had Poppy Parade as one colour, Petal Pink, Timid Tiger, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Pool Party, Cloud Cover, Secret Sea, Blackberry Bliss, Petunia Pop, and Basic Grey. So what I was going to do with the share was have 2 sheets of each of those colours in the share. Now the sheets are 30 by 30. So what I was going to do with them is cut them for postage because it will be easier into 6 by 12. So there will be 11 colours. You'll get 2 sheets each, that's 22 sheets but it will end up being $44 once I cut them in half. And it is $45, and that will include postage as well. So if anyone is interested, I did show the two-tone cardstock, and I gave away the card on the weekend. I did make a card with the two-tone cardstock, and I embossed it and then sanded the top of it. So then you get the white core come through as well, which is really lovely. So the two-tone cardstock has a white core. So to chair it, absolutely perfect as well, because you get that white inside as well. So do let me know. I will get something up this week about it as well, so that there will be all the colours and everything as well, so that you can see what will be in the packs. And that is our card from tonight. And again, thank you very much all for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Do hop onto my YouTube channel. I will put a link as well, because if you don't catch everything here, Facebook is starting to delete things quite quickly now. I think it's the month now for all the recent videos. But if you go over to YouTube, everything is there. So do check my videos out there, and you can subscribe. So when you subscribe, you'll get notifications when new videos go up. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Helen. Have a lovely week. We've had a weekend already. Have a lovely week, and I will see you all on Thursday, and then some of you I will see Saturday for our retreat here as well, because I will be having a follow-up retreat here. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy your week, and thank you for watching. Bye.